I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
This is looking promising.
I bet those are the
You're doing so well, and then you throw that into the mix? Come on! Hello interwebs, I'm Eric and welcome to The Looney Turtle. So the My Little Pony movie is finally on its way and they released their first trailer. Now aside from the lip sync and 3D animation, I have high hopes for this movie. However, this has given me the perfect opportunity to talk about what I like and hate about animation. Before I get into the meat of what I want to talk about, I feel the need to clarify something. When it comes to animation, there are a variety of different ways of going about it, from drawing on top of 3D animations to moving a physical puppet one frame at a time. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be focusing on 3 specific mediums: classic frame-by-frame animation with layers, 2D character puppets, and 3D animation. 3D animation is the medium seen in most of Pixar's movies, where character rigs are made and animated in 3D. This medium can be very realistic and grounded, or it can have a very stylized and rubbery feel depending on how the animators choose to use it. Symbol animation is where an animator is able to create 2D character puppets and assets that they can later use for full-fledged animations. My Little Pony is primarily animated this way as it's quicker to produce while maintaining a certain level of consistency in movement and character size. The final medium is my personal favorite, frame by frame. When done right, this medium allows you to make so many dynamic changes to your characters that would otherwise be lost through the other 2 mediums. While 3D and symbol animations are better at maintaining character size and shape, you end up being a little more restricted in what you're able to do with the characters and objects. With My Little Pony, you'll notice that as soon as they make a new facial expression, the fandom scrambles to make memes of them. That's primarily because these expressions stick out in the show. Most of the time, they're reusing the same library of facial expressions, so these rare moments where the animators added to their library, or at the very least found the perfect opportunity to use it, it's very noticeable. Just like a puppet show, symbols can sometimes give your animations a very disjointed or limited appearance. 3D animation kinda suffers from the same problem. The characters are very solid most of the time, and certain movements just don't look as fluid as when they're hand-drawn. Although, like I said before, it can be stylized. Take for example Overwatch. These animations don't always stick solely to the character model, and as an effect, the animations have a very fluid motion to them. However, most of the time animators stick with the character model, which leads to very grounded movement. With frame-by-frame animation, it's always something new because the animator is drawing and redrawing the frames as they're going along. It's not the easiest medium to pull off, as you might mess up the proportions of a character or forget to color an object in. But when it's done right, these animations can look amazing. Now, all of these mediums have their strengths and weaknesses, but they work well when contained within their own medium. However, I hate to see them combined, and that's the problem that I have with this trailer. In the first few shots, I really enjoyed how the characters were more or less animated frame by frame, once again because I believe that it allows more flexibility in what the characters are able to do. As an example, look at this very brief scene where Sia is performing. It's only about a second long, but the dancers fluidly go through the motion of hopping forward, jumping, twisting around in midair, and then landing. To give you some perspective, this is a performance from the show, but animated with symbols. The dancers go back and forth, but they never do anything as dynamic as in the movie trailer, and that's mostly a restriction of the medium. Don't get me wrong, the 2 scenes are spectacles, but you can easily tell that the animators were able to make something a lot more eye-catching through frame-by-frame animation.
Then how are they mixing mediums in this?
The 2D frame-by-frame characters are laid on 3D backgrounds.
How can you tell?
Well, it's made obvious when the ship comes in, but through the trailer they have aerial shots where the camera pans. You'll notice that the buildings rotate perfectly while the characters kinda have a solid appearance to them. I don't have a problem with the 3D backgrounds, as the 2 mediums were styled in a way that allows them to blend together, but when the ship comes in, just...
It looks like a ship ripped straight out of a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah! One of the biggest problems with this ship is that it's too big and too textured to blend in with Canterlot.
Well, what if it's from a different world?
Then why do the characters from the ship blend in with Canterlot? And why does it look just fine from a closer angle?
Well, how does Canterlot look better? They're all 3D models, right?
On the Canterlot backgrounds, there are very soft shadows and simple colors. While the buildings may have intricate designs, they're still close enough for us to make out most of the details, while keeping focus on the characters. But when you look at the ship, I can tell that this is metal with Probably metal on the bottom?
No, that's wood.
And that's the problem. When something's right up to your face, you can see all of the details, but when it gets further away, the details remain, but you can't make out as much.
Isn't that how things are supposed to look?
Yes, in real life, but even then our eyes choose what to put focus on while ignoring the background details. With cartoons, the animators don't have the budget to create large detailed backgrounds, so as a trick, they simplify them. Take for example the Everfree Forest. You'll notice that the further you get back, the less details there are. That's because the viewers shouldn't be paying attention to the background. The characters in the foreground are almost always talking or using party cannons. They should be keeping the audience's attention, not that derp in scene 5. So when this ship comes in, it's a drastic change from what we've come to expect from the show. There's a faraway object with tons of detail. It doesn't blend in with this world's simplistic nature, and more importantly, it doesn't fit in with the medium. We never see something this detailed moving so effortlessly, and as an effect, it pops out. If they'd use a simpler model for when the ship is further away from the camera, I might not be bothered by it. But in general, this thing breaks my hopes for Hasbro's ability to seamlessly blend 2D and 3D. The mediums just don't work well together unless you're trying.
Okay, maybe 2D and 3D don't blend together, but symbol and frame by frame kinda go hand in hand, don't they?
Kinda. While symbol animation may require a little bit of frame by frame every now and again, it's a distinct medium compared to traditional animation. If the animator isn't trying to blend the two together, then the more drastic differences will become more noticeable. Take for example the fan-made animation Lullaby for a Princess. I was actually looking forward to this because the animatic looked promising, and the in-development animations made it seem like this was going to be a frame-by-frame animation. However, when it came out, I was disappointed to find out that it was a mishmash of frame-by-frame and symbol animation. It started out by doing a good job blending the two mediums, but near the end, the symbol animation becomes extremely noticeable, and it took me out of the experience. Since this was made by one person, I can look past the inconsistency and appreciate the animation that is there, but Hasbro should be able to pull off a lot better than this. It seems like they included 3D backgrounds to cut corners. The team for the movie should be able to animate backgrounds and ships in the same style as the characters. But for now, I don't have high hopes for the animation in this movie. Hopefully the story makes up for the mismatched animation. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see all of you in the next video.